Hey everybody, been a while since I've been on TikTok. Good to see you guys and gals again. And the reason I'm getting on is I want to share a few of the projects that we've got going on here in the shop. We'll start off with this one. You may recognize this from other videos I've done over the years. This is my wife's 2014 Scion TC. And I'll tell you what, it's the only one of its kind in the country. I'll bet on it. Only because of the customized work that she's done to it. All leather interior, it has the TRD performance package on it, LED lighting on the inside, and as you can probably tell, she takes excellent care of this car. It looks just like it did when it rolled off the showroom floor. What we're going to do to this one is new headlights. This one is not too bad. This one here, you can probably see near the discoloration. And I've done these a couple of times now, so it's time. So I've got some new ones that we're gonna go ahead and put in that. Now the other one is sitting outside the shop. Again, one you've seen in other videos, the F350. Got front brakes to do that. And then this one may be new to you guys. This is the 2016 Harley-Davidson Street Glide that my wife and I ride. And it's due for regular maintenance, so we'll start doing some videos on that, maybe some live stuff. I think that would be fun on as we go through that and get that up to speed on its maintenance. It's way overdue. But what I really want to show you is the newest addition to the garage. This is actually a birthday present from my wife. Yes, the rear wheel is off, but this is a 1950 FL Harley-Davidson. You heard me right, that is 1950. This engine is 74 years old, or I should say 74 years young. It was referred to in the day as the Panhead, still is of course, because of the unique valve covers that this model engine used. It is a 1200 cubic centimeter or 1200 cc 74 cubic inch engine. It has a points-driven ignition system. There's the distributor. But this bike is in no means stock. Okay, this is a already choppered out, customized motorcycle that is easily show quality. It does have a later model. I believe this is off of a old Harley Wide Glide, later model Wide Glide front end. So we still have that Wide Glide look that was very popular back in those early days. In fact, I had a 1949 model that had that, the original Wide Glide. You can see we've got a open primary with a big old belt drive. You may notice the shifter there in the back. It's a hand shift, foot clutch, and uses something pretty unique. It's called a rocker clutch. This is in the disengaged position. So when that rear pedal, the rear half is all the way down, the clutch is actually disengaged and will stay that way. So you can leave it in gear when you come to a stop. Of course, we don't really want to depend on that. It is possible for it to pop if that spring gets weak. And then to engage the clutch, you just have to push this pedal back down. It does take some getting used to, but that's what we've got on it right now. Now, as I mentioned, you can see that the rear wheel is off, and I'll get into that in a minute. I got the motorcycle. It had a little kind of difficult to start, hard to start issue. So I said, you know what, let's check this out. Pull the plugs. They were so black. They were so foul, rich, and certainly out of time. So that's the first thing I did. Put some fresh plugs in it. Redid the tune-up. Set the point gap, set the timing, which is kind of neat on how you do it on these old bikes. I should have made a video about that. Maybe I still will. And it has some other issues that we're going to address. One is the ignition switch. Let's flip back to that. Here in the center, when you put it into the first position, that gets the ignition hot, and then this is second position, that turns all the lights on. But what was happening is with the engine running, when you turn the lights off, you still had it in the wrong position, the engine would actually cut off. So I have some concern about the switch, and there's no key for it. So I've got a replacement switch with keys. We're going to put that in. But that's not the major thing. One of the things that the previous owner told me he had a known issue with was under hard braking. The bike has been upgraded. It's got hydraulic disc brakes front and rear. But under hard braking, the rear wheel would actually cock in the frame, pull it back on the right side. And there's no axle stay to keep it from doing that. And he had his opinions on what it might be causing that. So I figured I'm going to take a look at and see if I can, come up with some conclusions. And I did find a few things that were of interest. Let me see if I can show you. So one of the things was concern was that this was powder coated. So the run for the axle where we adjust the chain tension is not smooth. I need to address that yet. And that's what he thought it was. But I don't think that's the only problem. One of the things I noticed, this is a floating style caliper. And let's see, here's the mount. And here are the pins where the floating pins go. And you can slide this over the pin. And there's a lot of play in that bushing. So in both. In fact, the hole is actually kind of elongated here in the backside. So I think that's a part. Of course, the pin is pretty worn. I don't know how well you can see that. That pin's pretty worn, as is the mate on the other half of the caliper. So I think that's part of the problem. And let's see, you can actually see some of the rubbing there, and you can see it on the rotor too. So the decision's made to put some fresh brakes on, a new braking system on it. And I gotta give some props to one of my coworkers, young man we call him Lemmy, and he's got a lot of experience in building bikes, so he's been a godsend to answer some of the questions I had. And he clued me into a company called GMA Engineering, so we're going to pick up the GMA Engineering rear caliper assembly and mount for this bike. And because it requires a 5/8 bore master cylinder, and this has the old Wagner style 3/4 inch bore, I'm opting to put some forward controls on it as well. And that's going to work out good for me too, because I'm a little taller than the fellow that owned it, and it's just a little kind of scrunched up on the seating position, so I'm going to get my feet out there a little farther. So we'll have to get that installed, and there's going to be a few things to figure out. Primarily, the linkage is right. We have to adjust those. We have to fabricate anything for the caliper stay, and of course, making sure that the caliper sits correctly over the rear rotor, which means we have to make sure that the wheel itself is actually centered in that frame.